But in the amorphous form, when it is heated with air, it can form boron oxide, that is B2O3. Boron is unreactive to both even at moderate temperature, but aluminium completely dissolves in mineral acid. So orthoporic acid is H3BO3. It's a white crystalline solid with soapy touch. B2H6 will be formed. Lithium with fluorine will form lithium fluoride. Aluminium with fluorine will form aluminium fluoride. Hello my dear students, welcome back to the session 2 on the chapter some p block elements. Last class we studied about the general characteristics of p block elements and we started with the group 13 elements which is called as boron family, and we also learned one property about the boron family. We'll continue with the properties of boron family. First, we have reactivity towards air. Last class, we learnt about reactivity towards halogen, and we learnt also how boron halides or trihalides to be specific behaves like Lewis acid and why aluminium chloride will form dimers, isn't it? Today, we shall learn about the reactivity towards air. So, boron is unreactive towards air in the crystalline form. But in the amorphous form, when it is heated with air, it can form boron oxide, that is B2O3. Even aluminium can form aluminium oxide. But aluminium metal, if you take and if you expose it to air, it will form an aluminium oxide film, or the first layer of aluminium will react to form a passive film. Further attack on the aluminium metal below it is prevented. Okay, but crystalline forms, as I told, will react. So I can take boron plus oxygen can form B2O3, and just to balance this I have to put. So E can be any element, boron or aluminium. Here, even with nitrogen, when it is heated, it can form nitrides. Remember to write the balanced chemical equation for all the reactions in inorganic chemistry. Okay. Next is reactivity towards acids and alkalis. Boron does not react with acid and alkalis even at moderate temperature. But aluminium dissolves in mineral acids and aqueous alkalis and thus show amphoteric nature. Now what is this amphoteric nature? That is, the metal reacts with acids as well as alkalis. Both it will react and then we call them as amphoteric. Okay. Boron is unreactive to both even at moderate temperature, but aluminium completely dissolves in mineral acid. So we'll see aluminium dissolves with dilute HCl and liberates hydrogen gas. Okay, so you can see 2Al, 6HCl will form aluminium ion and chloride ion and hydrogen gas is liberated. Similarly, with concentrated nitric acid, okay, aluminium becomes passive. Now, what is the meaning of it becomes passive? That is, when aluminium is coming in contact with concentrated nitric acid, okay, it will form a film of oxide layer on the surface. Okay, if this is the aluminium metal, okay, when it comes in contact with concentrated nitric acid HNO3, it will form a film on the surface and prevents the other aluminium from reacting. Okay, that is called as, it forms a passive film. Now, due to this, aluminium cans were used for transportation of concentrated nitric acid in the olden days. Okay. Aluminium also reacts with alkali and liberates hydrogen gas. You can see aluminium with NaOH, water, it will form sodium tetrahydroxidoaluminate, that is a complex compound, and hydrogen gas is liberated. More about such complex compounds you will be learning in your second year. For now, you just learn it as a structure. Okay. Next is some important compounds of boron. So, some very important compounds are borax, that is Na2B4O7.10H2O. It has got 10 molecules of water as hydration. Orthoboric acid, that is H3BO3, and diborane B2H6. So now first we learn about borax and orthoboric acid as well as about diborane. Okay, so we'll start with borax. Borax is a very important compound of boron. It is white crystalline solid with this particular formula. Now what is its reaction? First is the reaction with water. So with water, what does it form? Borax dissolves in water to give alkaline solution. Okay. So here Na2B4O7 with water, when it is mixed up, you will get NaOH and H3BO3, but the solution is alkaline due to hydrolysis. Okay. Next is action of heat. Okay. On heating borax, first these water molecules are lost. So it becomes Na2B4O7, and this is the one which swells up. Okay. Further, when you heat it, they will start liquidifying, and that liquid, when it is allowed to cool, it will start solidifying again, and it forms a transparent bead-like structure or a glassy transparent structure, which we call it as borax bead. Okay. So when it is heated, okay, first water molecule is lost, and this further heating, what will happen? You will get sodium metaborate, that is NaBO2, and B2O3, which is boric anhydride, which together is called as borax bead. Okay, it's a glass-like material. Next is orthoboric acid. About borax, very little is there to learn. You have to know what is borax and what is its action with heat, and also how does it dissolve in water, or what is its reaction with water. That's all is there. Next is orthoboric acid. So orthoboric acid is H3BO3. It's a white crystalline solid with soapy touch. If you touch that, it is having that soapy slippery touch is there. Okay. So how can it be prepared? You take borax, treat it with acidified, dilute acid, I can tell, or acidified aqueous solution you have to take. Water which is acidified we can take. With borax, you will get NaCl and BOH thrice, that is nothing but H3BO3. That's a different way of writing it. Okay, that is orthoboric acid is formed. Next is properties of orthoboric acid. First is boric acid is a weak monobasic acid. Okay. That is, it behaves like a Lewis acid. It accepts a pair of electron, okay, or the electron from hydroxyl ion. It takes up an OH minus ion. You can see H3BO3, I can write it as, or I can write it as BOH thrice, which it can take up one more OH minus and become BOH4 minus, and water will get converted to H3O plus ion. That's why we call it as acidic, because it takes up an OH minus or it takes up a pair of electron. It behaves like a Lewis acid. Not that it gives away a H plus ion. That is, it is not a protonic acid. It cannot give H plus ion. Okay. Rather, it can take up an OH minus ion or it can take up an electron. That's why we call it as a weak acid. Okay. Next is action of heat. If you take orthoboric acid or boric acid, H3BO3, and heat it above 370 Kelvin, it will form metaboric acid, that is HBO2. Okay, HBO2 is what? Metaboric acid. This on further heating will form boric oxide, that is B2O3. Okay. And this is the structure of boric acid, where you can see lot of hydrogen bond is there. See, we have H3BO3, correct? So we have boron and OH, OH, OH groups. So this is my one OH group, this is my second OH group, this is my third OH group, and again I have boron with one OH group, second OH group, third OH group. Now you can see between the two boric acid molecules, that is oxygen and hydrogen of another molecule, there is a hydrogen bond. Here again this is a hydrogen bond. All the dotted lines which you can see, they have got hydrogen bond, isn't it? So this is the structure of crystalline boric acid. Okay. Next is diborane, B2H6. Okay. First we have the preparation. If we take boron trifluoride and treat it with lithium aluminium hydride in diethyl ether solvent, then B2H6 will be formed. Lithium with fluorine will form lithium fluoride. Aluminium with fluorine will form aluminium fluoride. And boron with hydrogen will form diborane, B2H6. Okay. Now the first one is reaction with air. So diborane catches fire spontaneously. What? Spontaneously it will catch fire on exposure to air, and it burns in oxygen, releasing enormous amount of energy. So you can see B2H6 with oxygen, it will form B2O3 and water, and lot of energy is released. Okay. So diborane can catch fire, and also with oxygen it will form boric oxide. Okay. Next is reaction with water. It gets readily hydrolyzed with water to give boric acid. So you take diborane, treat it with water, you will get boric acid and hydrogen gas is liberated. Okay. Next is reaction with ammonia. With ammonia, diborane gives B2H6 with dot 2NH2, which further will form BH2NH3 twice. So what is happening? B2H6 with ammonia, first it will form B2H6 dot 2NH3, okay, which again will react to form BH2NH3 twice plus with BH4 minus. That is a complex which is formed, which further on heating will give B3N3H6, which is called as inorganic benzene. It's a very, very, very important question. What is inorganic benzene? B3N3H6 is called as inorganic benzene. Okay. So inorganic benzene is formed when diborane reacts with ammonia. And what is the formula for inorganic benzene? B3N3H6. Okay. Next is structure of diborane, B2H6. This is very important. First we'll understand we have two boron atoms. Okay. And we have sp3 hybridized orbital. Okay. Even if the orbitals are sp3 hybridized, only 3 of them have electrons. So I can take these two and one electron is there here. So this will bond with hydrogen, this will bond with hydrogen. Okay. So 4 hydrogen atoms are there in the terminal with the normal covalent sigma bond which is formed. Now here boron, one hybridized orbital has got electron, the other boron's hybridized orbital no electron. Here it has got no electron, here it has got electron. Now we have 2 more hydrogen atoms which bond both the sp3 hybridized orbitals and they give 1 electron each. So 3 atoms are bonding, boron, hydrogen, boron, but only 2 electron is there. So such bond, what is it called as? It's a bridged hydrogen is there. Okay. That is by 3 center electron pair bond. 3 center electron pair bond. three atoms, but only one electron pair is there which is bonding. Okay, so what happens here is, again as I told, boron has got 4 terminal hydrogen atoms which is bonded. So this is the normal bond which is there, and between the 2 boron atoms you have only 1 hydrogen, but there are only 2 electrons. Here you have 1 hydrogen, okay, but only 2 electrons. So it is 3 center 2 electron bond, or we also call it as banana bond. Okay, here it is the normal covalent bond which is present. So here you have a boron, here you have boron, you have 4 sp3 hybridized orbital, 4 normal hydrogen which is bonding with the sp3 hybridized orbitals of 2 boron. Then you have 2 sp3 hybridized orbital, one filled, one empty, one filled, one empty, which is bonding with the hydrogen to form bridged bond. Okay, so that's about the structure of diborane. Next is uses of boron and aluminium and their compounds. So first thing is, boron fibers are used for making bulletproof vest, and it is a lightweight material which is used in aircraft. Also, main industrial application of borax and boric acid is in the manufacture of heat resistant glass called as Pyrex. Okay. Glass wool and fiberglass also can be prepared using borax and borax bead. Next, an aqueous solution of orthoboric acid is generally used as mild antiseptic. Also, aluminium is used extensively in industries and everyday life. They form alloys with copper, manganese, magnesium, silicon and zinc. Aluminium and its alloys can be given shapes of pipe, tubes, rods, wires, plates, foil, or therefore finds lot of uses in packing, in utensils making, construction, aeroplane, transportation industries, etc. And also it is lightweight, that's why it is extensively used. Okay, so that's about the uses of boron and aluminium. Next class, we'll be starting with group 14 element, that is the carbon family. So thank you, my dear children. I hope you have understood today's class. Stay tuned, stay focused.